Is it loud enough? Is it loud enough?
Yeah.
So we're very, very delighted to be back at the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Banki Bihari and to be with all the wonderful devotees of Nairobi Yatra. So today is a very special day because this is the appearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, spiritual master of our own spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So, had he not appeared, as Prabhupada writes in his beautiful poem, if he had not appeared in Puri, the holy place, I can't remember the words to Prabhupada's poem. Anyway, it was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati who gave the order to our spiritual master to spread this Krishna consciousness all over the world. So we're all sitting here by the mercy of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So there's a very beautiful bhajan by Narottam Das Thakur glorifying the Vaishnava Goswami. So if you have your devices, first of all, you can put them on silent because these little babies have a way of crying in the middle of the lecture. And you can look for Ebara Karuna Koro. Ebaro Karuna Koro. Ebara Karuna Koro Vaishnava Gosai. Ebara Karuna Koro Vaishnava Gosai. Ke Bakota Pai. Gangara Parasha Hele Paschate Pavan. Darshane Pavitra Koro Eto Maragu. Haristane Aparade Hare Harina. Tomastane Apa Radhe nahi paritra. Tomara hridoye sada Govinda Vishram. Govinda Kahena Mora Vaishnava Para. Pratijanve kore asha cheranera duli. Narotame koro daya apanaravali. Evara karuna koro Vaishnava Gosai. Patita Pavana Toma Bina Kehona. Jai Vaishnava Gosai, Jai Vaishnava Gosai, Jai Vaishnava Gosai, Jai Vaishnava Gosai. Jai Vaishnava Gosai, Jai Vaishnava Gosai, Jai Vaishnava Gosai, Jai Vaishnava Gosai. Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai, Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai. Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai, Jaya Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai. Jaya Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Vaishnava Goswami ki. So this is a very beautiful song by Narottam Das, glorifying the Vaishnava Goswami. He says, Ebara Karuna Koro Vaishnava Gosai. Karuna means to be compassionate. So Ebara, this time, be compassionate upon me, O Vaishnava Gosai. Actual word is Goswami, but this is Old Bengali. Affectionately, we say Gosai. E Bara Karuna Koro, Vaishnava Gosai. Patita Pavana. He's taking our position, because Narottam is certainly not Patit. But we're certainly Patit. Patit means fallen. Patit. So patita pavana. Pavana means to purify. So, like you, there's no one who can purify the fallen souls. So we're begging for the mercy of the Vaishnava Gosai. Especially on this day, we're begging for the mercy of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, just to give us a tiny drop of his determination and energy. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dajati Swapadandiyam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Panchakalpatrubhyascha kripasindhuvevacha patitanam pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So, by chance, the tithi of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada's appearance day has come on the same date as his original appearance. He was born in, I can't remember the year, but February 6th. Long time ago. It came on February 6th. So again, it's come on February 6th today. And he was the son of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was such a incredible manager that even the British recognized, because the post of magistrate was practically all held only by Britishers. But Bhakti Vinod was so talented that they made him the district magistrate. In fact, one of his posts was a district magistrate of Puri. And they gave a nice house right on the Grand Road where Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur was staying. And he was praying because at that time Vaishnavism had entered into a dark position. People had no respect. They just thought this is just an excuse for begging on the street. And so many sahaja groups that come up with so many types of practices we won't discuss here. But people just thought this is completely, they had no respect for Mahaprabhu's message. But Bhakti Vinod somehow, by the mercy of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he was able to catch up Mahaprabhu's real mission. But he was feeling, he tried in so many ways. He wrote so many books. He wrote, and it's amazing. He was, we can imagine, district magistrate means he's very busy. And still, he managed to write so many bhajans, so many books, and do so much preaching. He would get when he would come into court, he would get rid of everything, solve all the cases very quickly, and spend his time, researching and writing and preaching. So, but he was feeling himself inadequate. So he was praying to Lord Jagannath. He was there in Jagannath Puri, and he managed, at that time there was a lot of mismanagement going on, and he managed to regularize the offerings and regularize everything. He straightened everything out in Puri. He was such a very talented manager. But he was feeling himself inadequate, so he was praying for the Lord to send a ray of Vishnu. In fact, my one godbrother has written one book, biography of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, ray of Vishnu. So it just so happened that on this, I guess this is a Panchami today? I think so.
Yeah.
Panchami of this Falgun, which is the same month that our Lord Chaitanya also decided to appear in. So in this Krishna Paksh Panchami, he appeared in Puri, as Prabhu as Puri, the holy place, the Lord and Master of His divine grace. I wish I had that poem with me. It's probably in my phone, but I don't have my phone with me. But there was one line that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was very pleased with. Anyone who would come, he said, see what he's written, see what he's written. He said, absolute sentient thou hast proved, impersonal calamity thou hast moved. Now it is your right, you have the may, save us a fall in your divine grace. He said, absolute sentient. The person that is saying, this is an insult. If we say Krishna has no face, no hand, he doesn't have any material face, any material hand, but he certainly has his hand and face. The Upanishads say his hands are everywhere, his eyes are everywhere, his ears are everywhere. Still, he has his transcendental eyes and senses. So absolute is not just some blinding divine light, but it is a person with whom we can have a loving relationship. So absolute is sentient, thou hast proved impersonal calamity. This is a calamity if we get trapped by this Mayavad philosophy, think that I'm God. We were describing yesterday, and we were remembering very wonderful walk. We were with Prabhupada in Bombay in 1974, and he would go to Juhu Beach to walk, and one fellow, Dr. Patel, would meet him every day and argue Mayavad philosophy with him. So that particular morning when I went, Dr. Patel was there with his friends, and they began walking on the beach. And Prabhupada, see here, there's sand, sea, and sky. Now you can say it is all one, it is all atoms. All right, but still, we're walking on the land, not on the sea, not on the sky. It is okay. You say it is all one. It's all right. But still, we're walking on the sand. We don't walk on the water. We don't walk on the sky. So you may say it is all one, but still, it is like that. He said, even child can understand. Therefore, your intelligence less than child. You smashed Dr. Patel. And then he walked a little further. He said, just like in the body, there are so many holes in the body. Still, we put the food here, not here. We were just remembering this pastime the other day. Anyway, he used to show this verse to everybody. He was very pleased. Anyway, on this day, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta appeared right on because they had a special house for the district magistrate, right on the Grand Road. Grand Road is where the Rath Yatra takes place. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's umbilical cord was wrapped around his body, just like a Brahman thread. So Bhaktivinoda thought this must be the answer to my prayers. And then 6 months later was Rath Yatra, and somehow the cart stopped right in front of Bhaktivinoda's house. And it didn't move. So Bhaktivinoda's wife, she took advantage, and she was the wife of the district magistrate. So she just climbed up on the cart with this little child. They named him Bimala Prasad. As we know, Bimala is that the Jagannath Mahaprasad only becomes Mahaprasad. After you offer to Lord Jagannath, they have to offer to Bimala Devi. Then it becomes Mahaprasad. So he named him Bimala Prasad. So she took advantage that she was the magistrate's wife, and she climbed on the cart and put the deity, her child at the lotus feet of Jagannath. Immediately his garland fell down on top of the child. So Bhaktivinoda was convinced this is a child, this is what I've been praying for. And as a child, he was very, very intelligent. He learned everything, but he wasn't interested in fooling around and wasting time. And he was very serious. He's so serious. There's one story Prabhupada used to always tell, how Bhaktivinoda brought some mangoes home to offer to the deities. And Bimala was just Bimala Prasad was just a small child. He saw some mango. We know children, whatever they see, first thing it goes in the mouth. Whatever they see, boom, goes to the mouth. So he began to eat those mangoes, and Bhaktivinoda came and said, "Oh, you are a big offender. I have brought these fresh mangoes for the Lord, and you're eating them." And Bhaktisiddhanta was only, I guess it was 4 or 5 years old. He took a vow that I will never throughout my life eat mango. And Prabhupada said, many of his godbrothers, they tried to give him mango. Even in his later life, he said, "No, I'm a offender. I cannot take." From 5 years old, he made such a serious vow that he kept throughout his entire life. Anyway, we don't have time to go into all of the details of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, but since it is his Vyas Puja, we felt obliged to say something. He helped his father in so many ways. He established the real birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the Yoga Pit and established a temple there. Then he chanted 1 billion names. He took a vow. It took him 10 years sitting there just with an umbrella over his head to be safe from the rain. 1 billion names. Then he began preaching like anything. And of course, we know that some of Prabhupada's friends heard him speak, and they knew that Abai was very serious, so they wanted to get Abai's opinion about this sadhu. So, but Abai, I don't want to go. I've seen all these sadhus. My father used to feed them every day. These guys just come and sing in the street, beg some money, smoke some BDs, and who knows what else they do. He said, no, this is different. Anyway, anyhow, they forced him to come. And just as he was bowing down on top of that place at Ultadanga Junction Road, which now we've obtained and remodeled very wonderfully. If you go to Mayapur, to Calcutta, you have to see a very beautiful place. Completely, all the decoration, remodeling has been according to that period of time. Nothing modern is there. So he was paying his obeisances, and Bhaktisiddhanta said, "You're an intelligent young man. You know the English language. Therefore, you should preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the English-speaking world." And Prabhupada said, "But we're slaves. We're underneath these British. Who will listen to us? First, we have to get independence. Then we can preach the message." And of course, everybody in India would have agreed with him right away. But Bhaktisiddhanta said the message of Mahaprabhu cannot wait for the change of political atmosphere. It is so important. And Prabhupada had never been defeated. He was always, amongst all his friends, whatever argument was there, he always defeated them. When they had a debating team, he always defeated everyone. And that was the first time he was defeated. So when he came outside, they said, "What do you think?" He said, "The message of Mahaprabhu is in very good hands." He said, "No, this is a real sadhu." So Prabhupada always remembered that message that you preach, and he started his Back to Godhead, trying to distribute a few of them here and there, somehow or other. On the order of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he went to the West. And I can remember there's a recording in LA Temple. Prabhupada was there for the Vyas Puja of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. They put his picture on Prabhupada's Vyasasan, and Prabhupada, you can see him offering artik. There's a very special picture, Prabhupada offering artik. And then he said, actually, my spiritual master saw that I'm unable to do this alone, so he has sent all of you to help me. So I'm seeing that you're all my spiritual masters in the form of disciples. And he says, and you're helping me. And he cries. Prabhupada, he can't finish the sentence. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Hare Krishna. So we're deeply indebted to him for inspiring Prabhupada spread this Krishna consciousness. We're only sitting here today because of that. So we just beg for the same determination and energy that he had to spread this. He opened up 64 Gaudiya Mats all over the continent of India. And Prabhupada was able to get established 108 temples all over the world by his inspiration. So today in the schedule it says we're going to Bhandiravan. Bhandiravan is probably one of the, in one way it's one of the closest forests to Vrindavan. Because it's just, if the pontoon bridge is set up, then it's just like 3 or 4 kilometers across the river from Vrindavan. If the pontoon bridge is not there, then you have to go around by another way. This is a little bit longer, but still it's not very far away. Because on the western side of Brajmandal, western side of the Jamuna, there's 7 forests. Madhuvan, Talavan, Kamudvan, Bahulavan, biggest Vrindavan, then Kamivan, and 1 small forest, Kedarvan. That's 7. And then 5 forests on the eastern bank of the Jamuna. There's, what is that one? Bhandiravan, Bhandiravan, Belvan, Lohavan, and Gokul Mahavan. One forest has 2 names, Gokul Mahavan. So Bhandiravan's on the eastern bank of the Jamuna. And this pastime is described in many different scriptures, but the best place I ever saw this description was by my very dear godbrother, Shivaram Swami Maharaj, in one of his books, Vrindavan Krishna. He describes it very, very sweet way. Because he starts out the book that one day the sun was going down, but the sky was overcast with clouds. And the sun was going to set without any darshan of the Lord, because it was all cloudy. So the king of the clouds, he became worried. If the sun sets without seeing Nandalala, then maybe he'll become so depressed he won't rise up tomorrow morning. Then what will happen? Just like sometime some person very dear to us passes on, we don't want to wake up in the morning and face the reality. I remember when we heard that Indra has left, we just couldn't believe it. We didn't want to wake up in the morning and face it. So maybe he won't get up in the morning if he doesn't see Krishna. So he began to describe a pastime that he had seen in Gokul just recently, near Gokul just recently. He said one time, Nanda Maharaj, he went out to herd the cows. He took a few steps, and then he realized that he couldn't exist without seeing his little Lala. So he went back and placed him on his shoulder and took him along with him to herd the cows. And all the clouds hear about the extraordinary love of Nanda Maharaj for Nanda Lala. They all began to shoot lightning bolts and thunder and everything. And just at that moment, the clouds parted, and a little golden ray of sunshine, pinkish golden ray of sunshine, came down and touched the lotus feet of Nanda Lala. And then the sun set. So he said, Nanda Baba, just to relish Vatsalya Ras to its fullest extent, he had Krishna on his shoulder, And he was showing him all the wonders of the forest. Who is he showing all the wonders of the forest to? That person who created all the wonders of the forest. But just to relish Vatsalya Ras, he was pointing out all these things to Krishna. He's saying, oh Lala, look, there's a crow on the branch there. You hear him calling, ka, ka. Oh Lala, look, there's a little gilari, little chipmunk running along the tree branch. Oh Lala, look, there's a tamal tree. Tamal tree is very beautiful blackish color. So in this way, he was showing all the different things of the forest to Nandalala. And Nandalala, he also began to ask. He said, oh Baba, what's that tree whose leaf has got a tail? What's that tree whose leaf has got a tail? Ye kain ki pear hai jiske patte ki poonche Baba. Ye kain ki pear hai jiske patte ki poonche Baba. And Nanda Maharaj looked, he said, oh Lala, this is peepal tree. You've seen his leaf is shaped just like a heart and comes down to a little poonch. And I saw here in your Kenya, you also have so many peepal trees also here. So he said, oh Lala, this is peepal tree. He said a little bit further, he said, oh Baba, what's this tree what's got a beard? What's this tree what's got a beard? And Nanda Baba looked. He said, oh Lala, this is banyan tree, Batriksh. You see, it has so many roots hanging down like beard. Oh Baba, what's this little yellow fruit? Then Nanda Baba looked. He said, so this is bear. In Sanskrit, we call Badri. In fact, Badrinath is named after this tree. There was a jungly Badri tree that was actually Lakshmiji. She saw her husband, Lord Vishnu, was performing so many austerities without any shelter. So she appeared as a jungly Badri tree to give him shade and protection like that. So we call Badri. I think in Meghalaya we say cool. And I think maybe in Gujarat we say bor. This is a yellow fruit that comes in the springtime. Then he heard some sound. Oh Baba, what's that sound? And Baba listened. He said, oh Lala, this is the peacock. And the peacock is calling Radha Krishna, Radha Krishna. Keka, Keka. It's calling Radha Krishna, Radha Krishna. But the Vrishvasis, they say that the peacock is calling Megao, Megao, Megao. Because the peacocks, they begin to cry when it's very, very hot. As soon as Jyesht Maina comes, then all the peacocks are crying because it's too hot. They're all crying. Meg, of course, means cloud. So they're calling out, Megao, Megao. They're calling clouds, please come. Clouds, please come. But Srila Rupa Goswami, he explains there's a deeper meaning. He said, K means who. Just like Sanatana Goswami, when he met Mahaprabhu in Benares, then he said, everyone thinks I'm a big pundit, but I don't know. K ami. Who am I? So what is the question? Is who is there who can possibly reciprocate with this ocean of rasa that is Rasaraj Sri Krishna? And the answer is coming, Ka. It is only she, Sri Radha, with her ocean of Mahabhav. She can reciprocate with this Rasaraj Sri Krishna. And we know when the Rasaraj and the is there some water? Rasaraj and the Mahabhav joined together. That is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this way, Nanda Baba was showing all the wonders of the forest to Krishna. And I have a very dear friend who built the Brindakund temple, and he's from a particular place in America. And he says all the peacocks are crawling, New York, New York, New York. No, that's good. Then, all of a sudden, the eastern sky became filled with black clouds. And although they can't hear the thunder, they can see streaks of lightning in those clouds. And cool breeze is beginning to blow. Even before the rain comes, there's a cool breeze. Cool wind begins to blow. Because during the summertime in Jest, then the wind is coming from the west off the Rajasthan desert. But as soon as the rainy season comes, Shravan, then the wind begins to come, very cool wind begins to blow from the east. So Nanda Baba, he saw the whole eastern horizon. It's amazing if you're there for when the weather changes. All of a sudden, as far as you can see, just black clouds and lightning, and eventually the thunder comes. But now it's too far away. But Nanda Baba, he became very worried. He said, "Now the rain is coming, and there'll be thunder and lightning. All the cows will become frightened. They'll run hither and thither. But if I gather up all the cows, by that time the rain will come and Lala will get sick. If Lala gets cold from the rain, then maybe he'll catch COVID and die." So he was saying, what to do. So just at that time, very mystically, Radharani was lying in her crib in Raval, not far away. And very mystically, she took a beautiful form as a forest goddess. We say Bandevi. Or actually in, so many Russians are coming, we learn they have wonderful word for it. Bhagini Lesha. Bhagini Lesha means forest goddess. So she's the form of this beautiful golden forest goddess. And she appeared before Nanda Baba. And Nanda Baba, because he suddenly saw the whole forest was bathed with a golden luster. And he looked around and he saw this beautiful golden Bandevi was the source of this golden luster. And he bowed before, "Oh Devi, oh energy of Lord Vishnu, pranam." So, "Oh Devi, please do me one favor. The rain is coming. I have to gather up the cows. But by that time, the rain will come and Lala will get wet and maybe he'll become sick. You please take this Lala home to his mother in Gokul." So Radharani, she bowed before Nanda Baba and she took that little child from his arms and just held him close to her chest. And she's just feeling he's so soft like butter. And she bowed before Nanda Baba and she began to run towards Gokul. And Nanda Baba went to gather all the cows. So as she was headed back towards Gokul, they entered into the forest of Bhandiravan. And there's a very huge banyan tree there called Bandir Butt. And during Krishna's time, it was so big, his branches went all the way across the Jamuna. And the cowherd boys would shimmy up one root, run across that branch, because you see the branches of the banyan trees, they go for so far, very straight. They would run across and then slide down another route and cross the Jamuna like this. So they wandered underneath this Bhandirvat tree, and as soon as they were underneath this tree, suddenly Nandalala, he slipped out of Radharani's hands and he became a beautiful 16-year-old youth. And Radharani also, she became a beautiful 13, 14-year-old Kishori. And suddenly, underneath that tree, beautiful canopies appeared, embroidered with gold and silver and laces of pearls. And beautiful Yajna-kund appeared. And auspicious water pots was filled with water and sitting on top of, with a coconut sitting on top of mango leaves on all the pots. All these auspicious things began to appear. Because we're not talking about ordinary boy and girl. We're talking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his own Ladini Shakti, Sri Radha. Because for us from go to babyhood to youth takes a long time, many years. But Krishna and Radha, they can do anything they want by their Ladini Shakti. So immediately they took forms as this beautiful Kishore underneath this banyan tree. And suddenly, Lord Brahma was coming from Pushkar, where he just performed a yajna. And he looked down and he saw this beautiful Kishore standing under the Bhandiravan tree. And he began to consider that in the future, many people may criticize Radha and Krishna's pastimes. So secretly, I will get them married so that there will not be any defect in their pastimes. So Lord Brahma came down. He bowed down at the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. And at that time, suddenly the Astasakis also appeared in their Kishori roops. And then Lord Brahma had them sit before the Yajna-kund. And chanting beautiful mantras, he began to perform the wedding ceremony of Radha and Krishna. I can't remember, there's a certain day, it's coming up soon, where everyone comes to Bhandiravan and they reenact this. There's a certain day. I just can't think of it right now. So Lord Brahma was chanting all these wonderful mantras. And then the Astasakis, they brought beautiful garlands. So we can't even imagine. Just like if you go to Vrindavan, you'll see the girls make so beautiful garlands for Radha Shamsun. Much more beautiful even than that. They made these beautiful garlands for Radha and Krishna. And Radharani took one garland, and with her sari pulled down and with her eyes looking down very shyly, she approached to Nandanandan and placed that garland around his neck. And then the gopis, Sakis, they handed another garland to Krishna. And very playfully, he threw that garland over Radharani's neck. Like that. And then Lord Brahma had them sit in front of the Yajna-kund, and he began to chant all these auspicious mantras. And finally, somewhere in the middle of the yajna, he stopped, and he had Radha Krishna stand up and change places. Radharani came on the left side, because left side is the side for the wife. Radharani came on the left side of Krishna. And then he had the Sakis bring a very heavy stone, and he had Radharani put her foot on that she should become rock. Her vow should be just like a stone. And he chanted so many beautiful mantras. And then he had the Sakis tie, many auspicious things. The end of Radharani's sari and the end of Krishna's chadar. They tied all these auspicious things with a big knot. And then he had them again sit, now Radharani on the left side. And he did the Purnahuti. After the Purnahuti, then with rice flour as bright as if it was ground up pearls, he made 7 rings, 7 circles coming from the corner of the Yajna-kund. And then he had Radharani put her one hand on Krishna Chandra's chest, and then both of their right hands together. And Krishna put his left hand on Radharani's back. And he told Radharani, now you step in each circle with your right foot and bring the left foot up without passing it. And he had Krishna Chanda guide her. And with each step, he began to chant these auspicious mantras. One for religiosity, one for wealth, one for having lots of cows. Nowadays we want to have a car instead of a cow. And one mantra for so many wonderful mantras. And this is called Saptapadi. According to a Hindu law, when the couple has taken these 7 steps together, then they're considered man and wife. So as soon as he chanted the 7th mantra, then he declared to everyone that Radha and Krishna were now man and wife. And everybody, suddenly all the demigods appeared, and the Gandharvas were there singing beautiful songs. The Kinnaras were playing musical instruments. Everyone, when they finished this Saptapadi, then they began to make all this uludwani. Prabhupada liked that so much. And then Lord Brahma, then the Gandharvas, they began to sing, and the Kinnaras began to play music, and all the Apsaras came. They were trained up by Indradumna Maharaj, so they were dancing very sweetly, and big festival was going on like this. Then Lord Brahma, he came, and with his 4 heads, he placed his 4 heads on the feet of the divine couple. And impelled by Yogamaya, he didn't want to leave, but impelled by Yogamaya, he mounted his swan airplane and left. The demigods also didn't want to leave, but impelled by Yogamaya, they all began to leave. And then Radharani, who has been cooking since the beginning of time and never made the same preparation twice, she began to cook a wonderful feast for Krishna Chandra. And then with her own hand, she fed that feast to Krishna Chandra. Then she took the remnants. Then they washed their hands and mouth, and Krishna began to stroll with Radharani through the forest. And he was showing all the wonders of the forest to Radharani. And as they walked, suddenly they came to a place in the forest where it was open, and the sand was just like jewels. It was just like a dancing dice. And Radha and Krishna began to dance, and dance, and dance, and dance, and dance. And even Lord Brahma, with his 4 heads, he couldn't understand the rhythm of Radha and Krishna's dance. Even Nataraj, Lord Shiva, was bewildered. They were dancing in such an amazing way. Radharani's bangles and Krishna's foot bells, they were making such beautiful syncopation, beautiful rhythms, that even Lord Brahma with his 4 heads, he couldn't understand. Ching, ching, a ching, a ching, a ching, a ching, a ching, 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 a ching, a ching, a ching, a ching, a ching, 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 a ching, a ching, a ching, ching, a ching, a ching, a ching, a ching, a ching, a ching, 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 a ching, a ching, a ching, a ching, a ching. They were making their ankle bells and bracelets, making beautiful sounds. And even the peacocks, who were very proud of their dancing, they folded their tails and came to watch the dancing of Radha and Krishna. And they were just whirling and twirling and whirling and twirling. Now, you know, if you come to India, you'll see if somebody's doing some performance like that, then the people come do no chavar. They take a note and go like this around the head of the performers. So, but peacock, he's just a simple forest animal. He has no money. So he took his tail feather and offered his tail feather to Krishna. And Krishna received it like it was something very valuable, so valuable that he put it on top of his crown. In this way they danced and danced. And then after a while they began to again walk down by the banks of the Jamuna. By the banks of the Jamuna, Krishna Chandra saw some beautiful colored minerals. So he sat Radharani down and began to paint beautiful paintings on Radharani's limbs. And then Radharani, she also touched those minerals. And she went to paint on Krishna Chandra. And suddenly he became a little boy again, crying out of fear of the thunder, because now the thunder and lightning had come close. He was crying out of fear of the thunder and lightning. And seeing the Krishna disappear, become a little boy like that, Radharani began to wail, "Oh Prananath, oh Shyam Sundar, where have you gone? Please don't show me this illusion." Suddenly a voice as deep as the clouds, "Hey Radhe, steer ho jao, steady yourself. In due course of time, all your desires will be fulfilled. Now take this boy home before he gets wet." So Radharani composed herself, held Krishna Chandra to her chest, and just ran through the forest. Suddenly, Yasoda saw that the whole palace was bathed in a golden luster. She looked toward the door of the palace, and she saw this beautiful Vandevi standing there in the doorway, showering the whole palace with a golden luster. And she bowed before that Devi. "Oh Devi, oh energy of Vishnu, pranam." And then Radharani said, your husband, Nanda Baba, he gave me this child, told him to bring him home out of fear that he may get wet from the rain and sick. So you please take this child. And Mother Yasoda took that child from Radharani's hands and just held him again close to her breast. And she's just feeling, oh, he's so soft like butter. And that Bandevi, she bowed, and very mystically she appeared again in Raval, in her crib, as a tiny little baby. And Mother Yasoda, she bathed her child and fed him and put him to bed. And hearing this wonderful story, all the clouds began to shoot lightning bolts so fast you couldn't even count. One, before you could say two, already another lightning bolt is coming. Another lightning bolt. There's so much thunder, lightning, and huge sound was coming. And Mother Yasoda became frightened that maybe Krishna Chandra has become frightened. And she ran into his bedroom. And she leaned over his crib with her big swollen breasts hanging down. And she saw Krishna Chandra was sleeping very sweetly with a smile playing on his lips. And in Raval, Mother Kirtida, she also became frightened by this sound, that maybe my daughter will be frightened. She ran into Radha's room, and she saw Radharani sleeping very peacefully in her crib, with a beautiful smile playing on her lips, as both the mothers and both the children in two different parts of Braj, they saw that both the mothers saw their children sleeping very peacefully, with smile playing on their lips, as they dreamt about the fantasy wedding underneath the Bhandiravan tree in Bhandiravan. Jai Jai Sri Radhe Shyam. So you can still go there. That Bhandiravan tree is there. Of course, not so big. It doesn't stretch across the Jamuna anymore. And underneath the tree, there was just a broken down platform. When I first went there, it was a broken down cement platform. Then the disciples of Narayan Maharaj, they came and made a nice stone platform all around the tree, a marble. They made a nice marble temple, and they put little deities of Radha and Krishna, with Lord Brahma performing the wedding like that. Now our Kratra Prabhu is also, his disciples have established underneath the same tree a little shrine of Radha and Krishna getting married, and Lord Brahma is doing the wedding. And then there was some fellow from Kanpur Dehat. Somehow he got a dream that he should go to Braj. He didn't even know, never even heard of Bhandiravan. But he got a dream that he should go to Braj, and he should go to a place called Bhandiravan and make a nice shrine there. So this fellow came. somehow he found out Bhandiravan, he came there. He'd made this grand, large little marriage mandap with very large deities of Radha and Krishna and Lord Brahma doing the wedding. And you can see the tree, some of the roots hanging down from the tree have twined together and it looks just like a garland. On one side, just like a garland. And now the government has fixed up the place very nicely. And because mostly we just see farmland, and the farmers always trying to encroach, so they made a nice wall. The government made a nice wall around to protect the Bhandiravan forest, because you can walk into that forest and see so many beautiful trees. You see Kadamba tree, and if you see the flowers of the Kadamba tree, they're just the color of Srimati Radhika. So the Kadamba tree is representative of Radharani. And Tamal tree is always blackish and crooked, like Krishna. In fact, it's described that when the gopis are running with tears in their eyes, trying to find Krishna, they see a Tamal tree. It's crooked and blackish, and they embrace the Tamal trees, like in our courtyard in Vrindavan temple. So the Tamal tree represents Krishna. And if you happen to see a Tamal tree and a Kadamba tree growing together, that's like getting Sakshat Darshan of Radha and Krishna. And you see at Bhandiravan, you go on one side, you'll see there's a Tamal tree and a Kadamba tree entwined together just like that. And so many beautiful things you find, and a special right at Kartik time, you'll find these beautiful gunjamalas, gunjalatas, the little creepers where the gunja beads come from. All the little kids, and they grow where there's lots of thorns because they're very tasty, so they can't exist except where there's thorns. So they grow and somehow the kids get them out of those thorny bushes. And you'll see at Kartik time, the kids are there because during Chaturmas, the peacocks all lose their tail feathers. So all the little kids come with handful of peacock feathers and bunches of gunja beads to try and sell to the devotees, like that. But you can go through the forest there. It's a very beautiful forest. And see so many beautiful trees, and very amazing place. Actually, when you first come in, on the left side, there's a little shrine of Radha Bandir Bihari. And that was also a completely neglected place. It was just even an earthen floor. It wasn't even stone. It was an earthen floor. And there was no dome. The Maiga brother, Manu Prabhu from England, the late Manu Prabhu from England, he came there. The Prikrama Marg, the roof was caving in and everything. So we made a huge dome and a big Prikrama Marg. One time we came to Bhandiravan and it started raining, but there was so much room in that Prikrama Marg, we could all sit inside dry and hear this wonderful pastime inside there. So now somebody's made a nice altar and very beautiful deities. This is the only deities of Radha and Krishna. Krishna is not playing his flute. If you look closely, actually sometimes it depends on the pujari. Some will, and some won't. But we give a nice donation, and they lift up the cloth, and you can see Krishna standing like this, on his tippy toes, and he's putting sindoor in Radharani's part. This is the only Radha Krishna deities in the world. Krishna not playing as a flute. He's standing on his tippy toes, putting sindoor in Radharani's part. And they have so many beautiful dioramas there. There's one scene where Radha and Krishna are wrestling because the gopis, they were watching in the forest how Krishna and all his friends are always wrestling. So they dressed Radharani up just like a wrestler and came there to challenge Krishna. And Radha and Krishna were wrestling and wrestling. And this is most amazing wrestling because they were trying to defeat each other with love. Love against love. This is the most wonderful wrestling. You see these beautiful dioramas there. Somebody's made these dioramas. And then you'll see, just like when we go to Bhandiravan, we just sit under the trees and take breakfast. So you'll see Krishna is there sitting under the trees with all his friends. There's a diorama there with Krishna's taking breakfast with his friends. Not so far away from there, there's a huge banyan tree on the bank of the Jamuna. They say that's Durvasa Rishi's ashram. So there's a diorama of that pastime also, because one time Krishna was late for the rasa dance. And Radharani and all the gopis, they became very upset. Why were you late? Because Radharani was suspicious. Maybe he's with some other gopi. And Krishna said, no, actually I was late because my guru came. So I had to go and do service to my guru, therefore I'm late. He said, Are Bande Krishna Jagaguru, you're the guru of everyone? No, I also have my guru. Durvasa Rishi is my guru. Where is this guru? If you have a guru, we want to see. Well, he's on the other side of the Jamuna. How will we get across the Jamuna? He said, you just have to tell Jamuna something, truth, and then she will let you pass. So what should we say? You go there, say, we're coming from Nandagram, where Krishna is living as a Drida brahmachari, very strict brahmachari. And all the gopis began to laugh. He said, better we bring our life jackets with us. So they made a big feast. They brought tons of butter, milk, yogurt, ghee, flour, sugar, so many things. And they got to the bank of the Jamuna and said, we're coming from Nandagam, where Krishna is always remaining as a Drida brahmachari. And Jamuna became ankle deep, and they all ran across. And they met Durvasa Rishi, and they cooked a huge feast. And then Durvasa Rishi, with one bite, he swallowed up the whole feast that they cooked. And they said, how are we going to get back across the Jamuna? He said, you go until we're coming from Durvasa Rishi's ashram, where he's only drinking ras of durva grass. That's why he's called Durvasa. He only takes the ras of this durva grass. And the gopis, we just saw him eat this whole feast. So they went to the Jamuna, and they said, we're coming from Durvasa Rishi's ashram, where he's always fasting and only drinking juice of durva grass. And Jamuna became ankle deep, and all the gopis began to laugh. They said, Et tagat guru, ek tagat chela, or dono ke beech mein tagni. Jaisa guru, jaisa chela, jaisa tagni. On one side, there's this clever fellow who's a guru. On the other side, there's this clever disciple. And in between, there's this cleverini. And they're all the same. Jaisa guru, jaisa chela, jaisa tagni. So that diorama is there, Krishna, of the gopis cooking for Durvasa Rishi. And then, just outside of the Radha Bandhu Bihari temple, there's a well. This is called Benu Koop. Koop is Brijvasa for well. Benu Koop. And this was made by Krishna's flute. Because one time, the gopis, they were upset with Krishna. They said, you killed a demon. You killed that demon Vatsasur. He was in the form of a calf. So they said, you made a big pop. How we can be associated with you? So Krishna said, what can I do? He said, you'll have to take bath in all the 7 oceans. And Krishna, that will take a long time. How can I go so far away? So with his flute, he dug a well. Because Krishna's flute is very handy for calling gopis, for calling cows, for digging wells. Also in Barsana, he dug a kund also. It's a very practical Krishna's flute. So he dug a well. And he called all the waters of the 7 oceans to come in that well. And then he took his bath, and then the gopis would again associate with him. So that Venukup is there. And the villagers, they believe that when Somavati Amavasya comes, and some years it doesn't come at all. There's no Amavasya on when new moon, which means no moon, comes on a Monday. That's called Somavati Amavasya. And this year in June, I can't remember the date, but in June of 2026, there's going to be a Somavati Amavasya. And the villagers believe that on that day, milk comes in the well. And I have seen, if you go there ordinarily, they always draw some water from the well out for us. It's crystal clear. But in that day, you will see it's all milky white. You have to get up very early because they start from like 4:30 from our Mangalarti time. They start. And you'll see the water is all milky white. And they have these little brick structures like this. And a lady goes inside and squats down. She comes with a brand new sari. She leaves that behind and she squats down. And everybody pours water over her. And then she leaves that. You'll see there's two Govardhan hills of structures. There's two of those structures. You'll see two Govardhan hills of saris sitting there. Then they make a little Gobar swastika. There's a little shrine behind the well. They make a little swastika there. And especially those ladies who are unable to have a child, or their child shortly after birth, they die. If anybody takes bath on that Somavati Amavasya day, then he will definitely get a child. And we have so many proofs of that. There was one devotee, Parama Karuna, in Italy, not Italy, Australia. And he and his wife Parvati, they weren't getting any child. So they came there for the Somavati Amavasya. She took a nice bath. She gave some charity to the Brahmins there, made the little swastika on the building there. Now they have their own private Gurukul. And Devi Shakti, many of you must know Devi Shakti. Her daughter also wasn't getting any child. She also went there on Somavati Amavasya. Now she has 4 daughters, I think. 4 children. So anybody who gets a child, then they make a big feast for the whole village. And the whole village means, if you count everybody, man, woman, and child, maybe you get 50 people. So for less than 10,000 rupees, you can feed a whole village in Braj. If you don't want to get a child, you can also do it sometime. Sometimes people just, because it's such a small village, you can feed the whole village with dakshin and everything included, maybe 10,000 rupees. So this Venukup is there. So this year, sometime in June, there's a Somavati. Sometimes there's 2, sometimes there's 1. Sometimes last year, 225, there was no Somavati Amavasya. But this year, at least I know for sure that in June there's a Somavati Amavasya. And then there's Daoji temple there. What time is it? 8:30. We'll save that for tomorrow, I think. So anyway, there's Bhandiravan, very wonderful place. Very sweet place. Hare Krishna. Anyone have any questions or comments?
How many of them have been to Bhandiravan?
How
many of them have been to Bhandiravan? How many of them have been?
Yeah, how many people have been to Bhandiravan? That's And now government has fixed it up very nicely. They made nice benches for devotees to sit on. And, there's a Dauji temple there. There's one lady named, what is her? Indulekha. You can get her phone number from us, but if you come to Braj, she always makes nice Brijvasi rotis for all of us when we come. We all sit down at the Dauji temple, and she makes nice Brijvasi rotis, and we feed all the devotees. We take our breakfast there next to the banyan tree, and just out in the courtyard of Dauji temple. And she makes nice rotis for all the devotees. So we'll end with a nice Braj Kirtan. And this is dancing music, so you're all tired of sitting, so you can all stand up. Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Shyam, Jai Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Shyam, Jai Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Shyam, Jai Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham. Pavan Radhe Tero Naam, Pavan Sri Vrindavan Dham. Pavan Radhe Tero Naam, Pavan Sri Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Shyam, Jai Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Shyam, Jai Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jai Gopi, Jai Jai Gwal, Jai Jai Sada Bihari Lal. Jai Gopi, Jai Jai Gwal, Jai Jai Sada Bihari. Jai Jai Gopi, Jai Jai Gwal, Jai Jai Sada Bihari Lal. Jai Gopi, Jai Jai Gwal, Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Shyam, Jai Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Shyam, Jai Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Shyam, Jai Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham. Govinda Govinda gaoge, Prema Padarth paoge. Govinda Govinda gaoge, Govinda Govinda gaoge, Prema Padarth paoge. Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Shyam, Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jai Radhe Jai Jai Shyam Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham. Bolo Santan Hare Hare Mukh pe Murali Haradari. Bolo Santan Hare Hare Mukh pe Murali Haradari. Bolo Santan Hare Hare Mukh pe Murali Haradari. Mukh pe Murali Haradari. Jai Jai Radhe Jai Jai Shyam Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jai Radhe Jai Jai Shyam Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham. Ram Nama Barambar Chakra Sudarshana Hirakavar. Ram Nama Barambar Chakra Sudarshana Hirakavar. Ram Nama Barambar Chakra Sudarshana Hirakavar. Jai Jai Radhe Jai Jai Shyam Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jai Radhe Jai Jai Shyam Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham. Manasi Ganga Shri Hari De Girivardhari Ki Pakrama De. Manasi Ganga Shri Hari De Girivardhari Ki. Manasi Ganga Shri Hari De Girivardhari Ki Pakrama De. Manasi Ganga Shri Hari De Girivardhari Ki Pakrama De. Jai Jai Radhe Jai Jai Shyam Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham. Jai Jai Radhe Jai Jai Shyam Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham. कुंद कुंद में क्षण चले अपन जीवन सफल करे. कुंद कुंद में क्षण चले अपन जीवन सफल करे. कुंद कुंद में क्षण चले अपन जीवन सफल करे. कुंद कुंद में क्षण चले अपन जीवन सफल करे. Jai Jai Radhe Jai Jai Shyam Jai Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Jaya Shri Prabhu Vrindavan Dham ki, because of the holy Dham, Shri Prabhupada ki, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. आप सब लोग की हरे कृष्ण. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Should like to thank Deena Prabhu for taking us very, very far away to Vrindavan. The whole mood of Nairobi temple changed to Vrindavan temple. Thank you very much. So we'll have a session once again on Sunday, which will be the final session. There is also prasadam now for the temple room, if you go to the temple room. And tomorrow is a special program for book distribution. So please join us once again tomorrow at the temple. And Sunday here in the Jagannath Hall, we'll again enjoy the nectar from Deena Bandhu. Hare Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.